Hello guys and girls, in this video I'm going to show you how to add more actions to our controller and interact with our database even better with the user interface. So in the previous episode I showed you how to create new users, how to show them, how to list them. But what we want to do with our users is, for example, we'd like to edit them or even perhaps delete them. And we don't have those abilities just yet. Let's create, let's work on it then. In our test, okay, let's make this nice and big. Let's create new test, describe, and we're gonna edit do. And before we're gonna visit the right URL, visit, and here we don't know how to go to our edit action yet, and you can very easily check because before, you remember, in our config we added the routes file and we added this link, this line here, resources users, and that create a whole bunch of routes, and we can list all routes that we have in our application by typing rake routes. And there's a whole bunch of routes for users, okay? And we used a couple of them before. We used the one for listing all users, we used the new user, but now we want to say edit user. And see this here, we passing an ID, so this route will look a little different. So in our spec, we go visit, edit, users, or user path, and we will pass the user, and the user that we create in the factory on the beginning of this package of tests, it's called new user, and we're going to pass this new user right here. And our page, we expect it should have content, and I would say edit, because we want to have the edit page to have a big sign on the top of the page that's the edit for our users. We save that and we can run the RSpec just like that. And of course it's failing because the first argument in our there is some files missing. There is some files that shouldn't really be here. So let me very quickly go and delete those, because I was recording this before. Unfortunately, the wrong microphone was on. Yeah, that's all good. So let's end the controller. Yeah, that's fine. We can run again. Great. So right now we have this error that there is no edit action on our user's controller. Let's go ahead and create that edit action right under our, say, end index, def edit, and save that, and run the RSpec again. And now it's not passing because there is missing template for our edit page. Nothing easier to do. Let's go to our users folder and create new file, and let's call it edit.html.trb. Save, and if we run the RSpec again, it will complain that the content is not right because it's expecting I edit, but there is only those two items from the menu. So let's create our big heading H1 perhaps, and I will say edit. That's it. If you run the spec again, that will now pass because the content is matching. So right now we just display edit in our edit page. We don't have any form, just like we had for for creating new user. So let's make sure that in our test we can interact with our form. And before we start writing this test, I want to just stress one thing. When you write your application, you run your tests, you have to always assume that the user will come and will try to break it or try to put not the right information, maybe no information at all. And you have to be prepared for such situations. So my advice is test the scenario when the user is doing something wrong first. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. Describe with, maybe filling out the form with valid information. Just like that. And here we will say before do, because we have a couple lines here. So instead of using curly braces, we just do the block. Fill in name. We had it before, if you remember here, we fill out the name and the email. So just do the name with, and what we will do is just put open, close quotes, which means fill the name with empty string. Because we go to edit, so we're going to be editing existing record, and this empty string will just replace whatever is going to be in the field name, because it will be pre-filled by Rails, and we'll replace that with nothing, and then we click the button save, because as I believe that's the name on the button. Yes, save. Okay, save, and we would expect it should not change. Actually, we want the user to stay on the edit page. If nothing, if the actions are successful, we want them to stay on the edit page. So we say it should have content edit. Because just like before, we here on the edit page and it has content edit, we want to stay on that page. So we always wanted to have this content edit. Great. And when we save that, it will run the spec. The spec will complain that it cannot find the name field. And because there is none. Go here, it's only this, just let me make it nice and big. There's only this H1, sorry. Okay, so if you remember when we work on our new action, we created this form, and our form for edit is going to be exactly the same. So let's just copy it over to our edit and paste it here. And by the way, we probably want to copy this and just make sure that our new page also have a nice title. So let's say new user. Okay. Okay, and let's run the spec. Great. So now when we pasted the form into edit, we had this error that there is a first argument in the form cannot be nil or empty. It's because in our view, we using this variable user, and in our controller for edit page, the user is not defined. So let's define user, and that's going to be user, and we find that one using params ID, just like we did for our show action. Let's save that and run the spec again. And this time it complains that there is no action update in our user's controller. If you remember from the previous video, when we created a new user, we went to a new action and we clicked the button, and then the RSpec was complaining about lack of create action. Well, because those two are connected. So new, when in the new you have the form and you submit that form to create, well, that would be submitted to the create action, and create action will do all the work and then redirect us to somewhere else. The similar thing we have with our edit action. The edit action will just render the form, but then when we submit that, that will be submitted to update action. So let's define that update action, and just similar to what we did before, we find the user using params. ID, just like that. And if we go here, we run the spec again. Now it says, well, sorry, Hank, but there is no template. So just like for our create action, we can redirect our user. And let's redirect to user's path. So user's path, you can check in rake routes. Okay, because we want to go to the index action, okay, after we update our user. I mean, that's my decision, but you can redirect somewhere else, the root URL or to show action. It's really up to you. So I save that and run the spec again. And it's now failing because it expected to stay in edit if the action is not successful. So if we go here and we let's modify this action slightly. So we would say if at user save, then we say redirect to user path, or else render new. Not new, render edit. Save that and run the spec again. Oh, okay, sorry. We want to update attributes of our user. So we just take the user and we attributes, and we use those attributes just like for create action. So we just user params. So what we'll do now here is we take our user that we found and we update the parameters or attributes of that user with the params that the form is sending us, so the form from the edit page. And then we try to save the user, and if that's successful, we're going to redirect the user to the user's path, and if it's not successful, we're going to render edit page again. Right now, don't worry why we say redirect here and render here. Just pay attention to the syntax, because when you say render, you have to use quotation marks, and here you just use the path. For now, don't worry about why it's here like that. Just follow this method. So successful, redirect; unsuccessful, render. Okay, I'll show you in the next couple videos why we do it this way. Let's save that and run the spec again. And it's now passing. Okay, so for our unsuccessful, because right now we fill the name with empty string, and as you remember, the name cannot be empty. We press save. The page edit is re-rendered. We stay on the same page. So when we have this passing, let's say what happens when we fill it out with the correct information. Describe filling out the form with valid for information. Do before do fill in name with let's just give it a new name, Tony Halik. Okay, and click button just like before, save. And this time we say it should change name of the user, do, and we just take this user that we visit, okay, new user, because we're still using new user reload name should double equals Tony Halik. All right, we use this reload command here because Rails will save our records to the memory. So sometimes when they're supposed to change, they will not change in our test. So we force reloading those objects. And let's run the spec. Oh, it's not passing. Oh, because we have a syntax error. There should be a colon after with, just like that. You see, those things happen all the time, and you probably run into it quite often. Oh, okay. We expected Tony Halik, and we got Tony Halik with double N. Yes, I just like that. Yes, and it's working. And it's working because we went pretty quick and we implemented this line here. So we actually update user attributes, and you can check it out. If you comment this out, it will stop working. And because I use this reload method, let's see what happens if I don't use reload. I just try to check what's the name of the user, save, and reload the spec. Yeah, and as you can see, we get the old name. Even though we know the controller works fine, we still get the error because we didn't reload our user. Okay, so remember, this is pretty useful when you're gonna be writing your test. Great, so we now have the way to update user, edit user, create user, etc., etc. So let's make sure that our website looks friendly to our users. So first of all, we want to link here to list of all users. So let's create that link. If we go to our menu, and you should have it in our views, layouts, there is this partial menu. Okay, let's create another link here. Link to all users, and that's going to be users path. If you don't remember where it is, just like look into rake routes. So refresh. Yes, we have this nice link here. So we have an entry in the database. That's our only user. So let's make sure that we can open that page. When we click on the Frank's name, we open the show action for the user. So maybe like a profile page. So let's go to our index of users, and let's change this name into a link. And we do it by just typing link to, and this will stay because that's just displaying the name. Say comma, and we say user path. For that particular user, we have to pass him into parameters. So as you remember, the H for collection of each user, Each user will be saved in this little f variable, and this middle of the block will be executed, the code, and f here is the user is replaced by f. And once it do it for first user, it'll go back, it will take the next user, and we'll do the same for every single user. So that now is a link. Let's save, go back, reload, and yeah, you can see it's taking us to user path. Okay, let's go back here and make sure that for our show action we display that new paragraph so it looks a little bit better. Just like that. Okay, so it appears in a new line. We also want the link to edit right beside our name, so we can change the name of our users. So also in index, right beside a link to the show, to the profile page, we just put another link to, and this one just say edit, and will take us to edit user path, and we also pass this f or user variable. And if we go reload, there is a link, and it takes us to edit, and we can, as you can see, there's already pre-populated. And if we replace it by empty string, just like in our test, and try to save it, it will re-render the same page. So say Frank Stone. Just say, give him middle name, Vig. Save that, yeah, and it updated our record. So probably the last thing that we want to do with our users, for now at least, is to be able to remove them. And also, we still missing the link for new user. So right on top of the list, let's create a link to new users, and that will take us to a new user path, just like that. From rake routes, you can always check that in rake routes. Let's put it in the paragraph. Save, go back, reload. Let's create a new user. Tony. And come, save. And all users now include our second user. Awesome. So right now we want to be able to delete users, and probably one of the first decisions where you need to make is when do you want to put the link to delete. And I would put in the edit page, just right on the bottom. So let's go ahead and write the test. Again, top level test. So describe, delete links, do, and before we go and visit that edit page, edit user path, and we path new user, just like before for our edit, and we expect the page link, should have link, because we don't always have to say content, we can say link, we can say CSS, and a couple other things. I encourage you to go to Capybara website so you can see what other matchers are. So have link, and the link would say delete, just like that. I run the spec, and of course it will not pass because our edit page doesn't have that link. We can create one and go into our edit page, right here, and on the bottom we put the link to delete. And for now we're gonna put this hash symbol. So hash symbol really will make our link not go anywhere. So it's just gonna be, it's gonna to look like link, but it's not gonna take us to any page. Okay, and it works because link is there. So let's not make the link work. If we go to our test inside, let's create new describe block. Describe, or maybe not describe. We should say it should delete user do, and we expect that clicking link delete, we expect it to change user count by -1, because when we were creating user, we expected when we click the button save to change user count by +1. We now expect it to be changed by -1. It's save, and let's run the spec. And of course not pass because the link doesn't do anything. So let's make the link go to the right address. Okay, so right here, the way to write to make a delete link is slightly different than what we did before with our, edit page and etc. Here we're not gonna say any path, because even if we go here and say rake routes, you will see that for the delete method there is, or the destroy action controller, there is no path. There is nothing we can type here. So what we will do, we just say add user, okay, and this user, the one from the controller, add user, and we say method delete. Okay, we can save that and run the spec. Oh, not big crowds. RSpec, and the RSpec is complaining that there is no destroy action in the controller. So let's create the destroy action in the controller. In our users controller, under update, let's define destroy, and let's make it do something. Okay, so let's make it find user find params ID. We just go a little quick here, and we, after whatever we do, we just redirect to users path, so index, basically index. Save, and let's run the RSpec. And the RSpec complains because nothing changed. There's still one user. So here we need to destroy the user. So we take the same user that we just found and we call destroy on that user. And run the spec. And it's passing, which means that we have the link. When we click that link, the user will be destroyed. Okay, so refresh edit page, and Frank Big Stone, click delete, and now the index of all users has only one entry. That's the package. It's everything that we wanted to do. We can show users, we can list the users, we can create new users, or we can update those users, and we can also delete them. So before we wrap up, there is one more thing I want to show you. If you go to our edit page, you'll see the form right here. And if you go to our new page, you'll see the same form right here. It's identical form, as you can remember, we just copied it over. So we don't want to have it like that. We want to have it reusable. So when we decide to change it, we can use it everywhere. We don't need to copy, paste. So what we will do, we'll do exactly the same thing as we did with our menu. We extract this into the partial. So I can command copy this and go into users, views users, and create new partial underscore, let's call it form html.erb and paste it here, just like that. And in our edit, let's delete the form and render form right here, this one, form. We don't put underscore here because Rails, when we say render, it will look for the partials, and it will look for the partials using this underscore. And we can take that, copy, and paste it into our new action, just like that. Save, and let's run the spec and make sure that all tests are still passing. Great. And if we go here, edit works, and also new works, so the form is rendered properly. That's it for this episode. That lays the foundations of what we're really going to be doing in Rails all the time, which is creating, updating, and destroying. Okay. I see you in the next video. Thank you very much.